Do you think that this idea could really work to cancel our debts? Our debts compared to the economies of the Western world is actually nothing. But do you think they will even come down to really kowtow to this very good idea of trying to cancel our debts? And what do you think are the impediments?
Well, first of all, I think anything good is worth trying. It will not be for want of trying. So we will try first. We will advance the arguments. We will advance the need for us for them to release that choke, the knee of our necks, as was said in America. And if we can get that done, if we can see the benefits, don't forget that the Western world also needs some benefits. They can see the benefits in them to releasing us of this financial slavery, and then I believe it's a win-win situation. They will be more than happy to. We all signed an undertaking that will whatever monies are released from debt cancellation, we'll sit down around table with our creditors and prioritize areas of spending. And the speakers have signed an undertaking that they will be absolutely involved in monitoring those expenditures. So we will need to sit down on the table with our creditors. Debt forgiveness isn't entirely a bad thing. It can be properly utilized. That's the monies that flow there from properly utilized, and then we're on to something good. But I can assure you that otherwise, all African countries are in the same boat. You're paying off your budget yearly. You're paying off creditors, but at the same time, you have to develop as a country. So you need those creditors to assist you to give you loans for you to develop your country. There's no country in the world, even the most advanced, even America, they collect loans every day. But the question is, are you able to pay off those loans? And if you're not able to pay off loans, and you've gotten to a point because of COVID and the rest of it, happenstances, the things that you never thought of, well, you can apply for debt forgiveness. And that's what we're
doing. You have been interacting with a lot of the lawmakers from across the continent, and especially the speakers. How do you think? What have you learned on your own personal level about the continent from that point of view?
There's a lot of pride amongst Africans that they're Africans. There's a pride in who they are, what they represent, their culture. We're rich in different countries. We're rich in heritage and culture, and you see that when we interact, when we have conferences and symposiums and workshops. That is the first thing, and that point of unity is the first thing that you see. And our problems, like I said earlier, our challenges are the same, mostly. From Rwanda to Kenya to Ghana to Nigeria to Sierra Leone to Liberia to just name it, we all identify the same problem, mostly, irrespective of the language we speak. So we coalesce together with that because of our common problems, and we're looking for challenge for ways to deal with those problems. And so I have learned a lot. And outside of legislative work, you also learn a lot about different cultures in the same continent. You learn about history. You learn about so many things. Rwanda, I'm sure if you haven't visited, it's a place of visit. It should be a place of visit for you. You learn about their history and what they went through, the genocide and the rest, how they've come out of it, and when you hear that, or you listen to that, or you see that, you realize that this is an African country, And so you hold on to it, you borrow a leaf from their own experiences and apply it wherever it's applicable in your own country. So those are the benefits.
All right, the last question to round up, the cultural differences in all of them. You must have noticed some. Which ones really stand out? And what do you want to achieve in the last year of this your stewardship? What do you look forward to?
Cultural differences. I'll pen that on paper one of these days and try and come out with what the difference between Nigeria and Rwanda is, or Nigeria and South Africa, Nigeria and Ghana, apart from the rivalry in football and whose rice is better, if you want to call that culture of sorts. But yes, whose jollof rice is better. We banter about that every time we meet. But on a serious note, we have more or less a unified culture, except in the nuances of the little things. It's called the Black culture. It's called the Black culture, which cuts across the continent. And we want to enrich that culture. We want to make sure the the continent is not looked at as a dark continent. We want to come away from the toga of developing countries to developed. It's more or less fighting for some kind of independence that is. We're all independent, all the shackles of colonial masters, but there's still that subtle thing wherein more advanced countries might think they might want to lord things over you because of your economic weaknesses. And it's time for the continent to rise from that as one giant continent and come together. That's when we can do that. We cannot do it in isolation. We cannot do it. Ghana cannot do it by itself. Nigeria cannot do it by itself. Or maybe we can. Or you get more, you gain more, you achieve more when you come together. In some cases, in a lot of cases, in a lot of issues, the Western world, they come together as one. They come together as one, especially when their interest is affected. So when the African interest is affected, we need to come together as one. And we felt as legislators, and I came up in Nigeria in the Ninth Assembly with this issue of parliamentary diplomacy. We felt as legislators that the world has changed. So, we needed to push the envelope a little bit. Yes, the executive have their work to do, but we pushed the envelope. We got involved, and we knew where to draw the line. And we have been able to score to make some great giant strides in terms of relationships between Nigeria, when Nigerians are affected. We did it in Ghana, we did it in South Africa. We pushed the envelope and went to Ukraine to get our people back. Now, that is not your typical traditional legislative work. But when all arms come together, you have more or less a symbiotic relationship where the legislature helps the executive helps the legislature, and so on and so forth. That's what it's one government. And that's what I've tried to do. The issue of parliamentary diplomacy, I've tried to even imbibe that on our colleagues in all African countries. They're very, 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 very keen on it because it gets results. Don't forget that when we did our debt, when we had a debt relief years ago during Obasanjo, it was the legislature that actually muted the idea and actually went with the Ngozi Iwealas of that time. To negotiate. The legislature was absolutely 100% involved. We have just in the Ninth Assembly brought it out more.
All right. The last question was about how you look at your final year of this stewardship.
We have our work cut out for us. There's still a lot to be done. We have a legislative agenda, more or less a tempered agenda, which we reviewed after COVID. We're ticking the boxes as we go along. What have we done? If you remember, we termed our legislative agenda contract with Nigerians. And we've given everybody that cares to listen synopsis of the legislative agenda. And we want to, at the end of our term, be able to tick off as many of those things, put them in the done basket, not the to-do basket. And we've done well so far. The Electoral Act, the PIA, the onshore-offshore dichotomy, the return to the January-December cycle, which has escaped us for years, PIA, which has escaped us for 30 years, and so on and so forth. This House has recorded over 2,000 bills. I've not always believed in the quantity of bills, I've always believed in the quality of bills. But here we have a House that has, last 3 years, processed over 2,000 bills, both in terms of, and did well, both in terms of quantity and in terms of quality. So there's, but hey, we're not there yet. We have another year, and I think that there will be many more milestones before many more milestones before we end our tenure. I am hoping that the constitutional review that we're embarking on will go further than it did in years past. And I'm hoping more than anything else that we're able to empower our women beyond what we've already done.
Thank you very much, the Speaker of the House of Representatives, Femi Gbajabiamila. And I say again, happy 60th birthday.
Thank you very much. Yeah, amplify it. Thank you.